Hello, and welcome back to the In-Laws We Trust podcast. I'm Ashley.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Kai.
And today we're going to be opening up about opening up. Let's get right into it. We'll start off with the question that we asked our partner this week. We asked, what's your communication style and how does it play into opening up? Had to do a little digging on this subject, and I took my answer or learned from the DISC model. I don't know if you guys are... Okay, perfect. So you know where I'm going with this.
But for our listeners.
For our listeners, it is a mnemonic for the 4 types of communication styles. We'll link the specifics down in the comment section. But from what I took from it and what my partner took from it, we deciphered what our style was. So she is the S style of communication, which is steadiness. She answered, the way my communication style plays out in our relationship is I can be passive in a way that I am usually thinking about you and your needs while minimizing what I need to say at times. I feel like I'm a good listener and stays calm in most situations, but I'm also very indecisive, sometimes causing a stir because we both sometimes can't decide on things. There were a few things that I did agree with, some I disagreed with, but she was mainly on point with, she is very keen on like my needs and maybe bending a little too much towards like what I'm thinking or what I'm looking for, while forgetting about hers. And that's something that I brought up many times before, when she, although great listener, she has nothing really to say back, and she's processing and all that stuff. But I encourage her to say what you feel. But I guess in her communication style too, it's difficult because one of the characteristics is not wanting to offend the other party. So keeping it inside. She's also aware of that, and she's making strides on how to affect it positively and be better at it. So that's where she's at. And then my communication style, to contrast hers, was that is the influence style, and that's mainly me directly wanting to address the issue and finding resolution right then and there. Sometimes, foregoing the how we're going to approach this conversation if my emotions are a little too high, but at the root of it, I'm just come on, let's fix this. But when I do talk to her, it's more I'm very excited about coming to that resolution. So sometimes if it gets a little heated, I can get emotional and kind of lose my cool. And that's where it does bother her. And that's also something I'm currently trying to work on. So interested to see what you guys think, or what your guys' take is.
I used a model called Artificial Intelligence, AI, aka Google, on what communication styles there are. And so my significant other admits he has a very passive communication style. And he kind of just lets things, if he doesn't really have strong feelings for it, which most of the time he doesn't seem to, just be sure, okay, sure, sure, all right, cool. Pass. And then on my side, I am passive aggressive, which is so true. I took a moment for me to admit that. But yes, isn't that a very passive aggressive? That's true. But I'm definitely passive aggressive, and I think we're both people pleasers. So we both are kind of indecisive as well in that way, where it's but I know, like, do you want to do this? Oh, but I know you want to do this. So it's like really hard to be assertive.
Yeah.
I have been trying to be a bit more assertive just in general in my life. And I think I'm a little bit better than I used to be. Definitely still a recovering people pleaser. But I am passive aggressive for sure because I know I grew up with a lot of passive aggressive people in my life. So things to work on. Definitely has come up in conversation and arguments about it. But it's progress to work on it.
Both my husband and I are passive aggressive. That's the thing. We don't like sometimes we don't know there's a problem until it's like the little things that we're doing that are like little jabs at each other. And it's like, okay, what's going on? Like, what's the problem?
You're staring at him in this direction.
No, I'm not. What do you mean?
That's what a passive aggressive would say.
But one other style that we learned in marriage counseling that I really took with me is there's two types, a turtle and a hailstorm.
Oh.
Sorry, wait.
Yeah.
A turtle.
Turtle and hailstorm.
A natural disaster and an animal.
Yes.
Okay.
So turtles, when conflict arises, they prefer to take a step back, be with themselves first.
Go into the show.
Yes. And then hailstorms are like, fix the problem now.
Yeah.
And like usually hailstorms are the ones that, will tend to raise their voice. And then turtles are the ones where like they don't know what to say. It's too much for them.
Yeah.
And we can be both at any time. You can be both in any different situation too. But it makes it really hard because most of the time you're not the same. And even if you are turtle or hailstorm, that's not productive either when it comes to conflict. So understanding what he may be in that moment. Because when we were doing marriage counseling, I was like, oh, I'm for sure the hailstorm. Like, let's fix this now. And he was totally turtle. But once we moved in together and got married and really got each other in all versions, I feel like sometimes I'm like, I don't want to talk about this right now.
Yeah.
Give me some space. And then vice versa, right? But I remember in that class, turtles, the reason why they do that is they don't feel that the hailstorm is respecting their boundaries. So they're going to make them respect their boundaries by retreating from the situation. And then hailstorms, they don't feel that they're being heard or that there's intent to solve the problem. So they're like coming at them hard. Like, hello, do you care about me? I'm here. I want to talk to you. I want to fix this. Yeah. But you're on like different ends of the spectrum. So figuring that out.
I like that.
Yeah.
I just think it's like the image that popped in my brain, which is like silly, is like an argument happening and then being like, oh, you're being such a turtle right now.
You'll hear hailstorming all over.
Like, that has to diffuse the tension.
No, that does. I mean, that's one of those things I also learned in like our marriage counseling and through the work in there. It's like to kind of figure out little things that help diffuse the tension. You develop like little tactics and like throwing a little like subtle joke, jab or whatever to bring light into it is one of the things that they highlight because I took it as, oh, it's a show of, hey, I know we're like kind of off right now, but I'm trying something to like calm the waters and then get us back to like, let's calm down a bit. And, I still want to fix things. So like, this is my little show of like, that through the joke or, little subtle jab.
I've seen on like TikTok, like a video of a couple, whenever they argue, they put their foreheads together.
That's different.
while they're arguing.
They put their foreheads together and then they hold hands and they press their feet of their sole, like the soles of their feet together. So it's a very strange thing to do on the floor, but it's so silly.
Don't you have to be flexible?
I guess they're
Yeah, that sounds like you have to like have that hamstring and low back.
and then they like say they're like how they're feeling and stuff, and it's just such a silly thing to do during an argument that it diffuses that part for them to have a proper conversation rather than just like, you know, throwing jabs or hiding away.
I could see that being the case.
Like the physical,
Yes.
it's like that thing where like if your body is like physically feeling some type of way, then your mind will also think that's how it's feeling, you know? So if your body's feeling a little silly, then maybe your mind will too.
Or I've heard so common to sorry.
Say it.
But it's like argue naked.
That's silly. That's so silly.
I swear I've seen that in a movie.
It's true.
Or like a TV show, like something where no, you know where that's from?
Where?
Freaking How I Met Your Mother.
Is it? Okay, that's what I thought. One of those shows.
But maybe, yeah, it is research.
I hear it often.
They literally took off their clothes. They're like, we're not going to proceed with this argument. They take off their clothes and it's like, all right, tell me how you really feel.
Yeah, it diffuses.
Yeah. And it's something about being physically vulnerable.
Yeah.
You're emotionally vulnerable. Or it's just silly.
No, it's silly. I mean,
Silly.
whatever it takes, right, guys?
Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever floats your boat, whatever diffuses the situation.
That was good.
That's good. That was good.
So I'd like to open up this episode with that one question of why it is important to open up.
So it's important to open up in order to develop a connection. How I kind of see it is if it's like, this is a really strange image, but if you have like a wire coming out of your body, like, you know, a Christmas tree plug, and you know how one is the socket and the other one is the insert, or no, is the socket the insert part? One is the plug and one is the socket. Yeah. And like, you have like connect the wires, and it's like, how are the wires supposed to know to turn on all the lights if they're not connecting? So it's important to open up because that wire needs to get that direction.
Yeah. This is just you? Like, this is only
I feel
your
like
socket.
General.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no. Like one socket, one's a plug, or vice versa. One could be a plug, one could be a socket.
In your relationships with people?
Yeah, like that's why it's that's why it's important to open up, because you can't have a true connection and light up your world if you don't open up.
Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah, I get it. I mean,
it's not Christmas anymore.
Oh man, now that we're on the subject of analogies, my response was an analogy too.
I love analogies.
Same. I thought of opening up was like, imagine a channel that allows water to flow between point A and B.
Television, sorry.
Huh?
They're my television channel.
No, like a channel or like a waterway that connects point A to point B. And how wide that channel is depends on how much you're willing to open up. Like, so like the wider the channel, the more water, flow of water happens, and vice versa. Like I equate it to like the flow of thoughts and ideas is important for communicating with our partners, right? Mm-hmm. And you know, it's like it helps, that communication and the amount of communicating that you do, it helps cultivate like a solid foundation in the moment and moving forward. Like the more we develop trust in one another, what else? Like understanding and mutual respect. Like those are important elements in a loving relationship, in a solid relationship. And it's vital to our life and our relationship survival, just like water. Water is important.
Wow.
Water is essential.
That was my whole
70% of that.
Wow.
That's really good. I really like that one,
Oh,
actually.
thank
How
you.
artistic of you.
I don't know that was what the question brought to me, and water.
Were you using the Calm app?
You don't know. Not yet, but I'm a lifetime user of Calm. I'm a lifetime subscriber, so
That's why I was
Yeah.
wondering if you were listening to like water or a river. And
I mean, no, you know what? Honestly, the only thing that came to me was like, just again, water allows us to be like formless, no shape, no form. It's like, you're just like free flowing. And that was kind of like where I was at thinking about this and prepping for this episode. Be like water. And I was like, okay.
So for opening up, if we don't do it, then how will the people we really care about know who we really are? They'll only get like such a surface level version of us, and we'll never be able to fully be comfortable with ourselves if we're not able to articulate it to the people that we trust.
That's right.
And love. So it's so important because it builds those relationships that make life worth living, right? Without it, it's like I would just be someone I don't know, I think. And opening up is a skill. You're constantly learning how to do it in the best way and the most productive way.
Yeah.
In that journey, you're learning more about yourself. And if we didn't actively think about that and just stayed in that same, it's fine, I don't really have to talk about this. It's like, no, that's gonna pile up and eat you alive and affect everything around you. It's gonna manifest in different ways. So we have to have these outlets and to be able to have that trust with, the people we really love, to have that fulfilling life and strength. A good foundation for our relationships.
And I like what you said about we learn about the ways we are opening up and the different ways that we open up, because I think especially when I was younger, like my idea of opening up was just like, just like telling everyone everything. Like, oh, you're gonna check in with me, I'll just dump on you and just say whatever's on my mind. And I still do like have moments of like venting, but I think it was even more severe when I was younger, and like it didn't take into account the receiving ends where they were at, and like whether they could receive that, and whether everyone needs to know every single thought in your brain, because honestly they don't. Sometimes those thoughts just need to stay up there. And I also learned so much about like when I do share things with people, I also want to consider like, where am I with the whole situation of that thing happening? Like, am I looking for a place to vent? Am I looking for advice? Am I looking to just share this story? And then like, did I do my own personal work on it? And did my part before I give it out to other people. So I feel like opening up is, it's a really important thing to do, but it's also a thing that you have to do with care, because if you just keep opening up, then people are, like, okay, I'll listen to you again after all this time.
Or, I mean, it could also leave you open to like criticism or like unwanted criticism, something you weren't expecting, or like there could be a point of like breaking a trust that you expected to have with that person, and it exposes you in a way that you didn't want to be exposed, right? It's important, yet it's a skill that requires some like fine tuning and learning some nuances, because you're considering your own like well-being and safety within sharing and opening up, but you're also like, you have to consider the other person's state and things, just like what we were all talking about. I think that all like ties everything together right there.
Lifelong skill. And you're like, with who you open up to, it's different. It's different with your partner. It's different with your family, with your friends. So
true, yeah.
all throughout you're learning.
So going off of that, like what have been some challenges or barriers you face when trying to be vulnerable, trying to be open? We'll kind of use that interchangeably.
Right. Like opening up and vulnerability. Like, I mean, for sure, it's like some of the thoughts that come to mind are like, having that idea of like, am I safe with this person, or doubting, like we have enough trust built between each other to start doing that. If I do sense any of that, I have my doubts, then I immediately like just repress my emotions, my thoughts, basically just go silent. And, like it can lead down a more negative path for me, because then comes the negative thoughts, the assumptions, which I'm like trying to work on. And I don't think it's worth like having any communication if like I go down that path. I'd rather just like avoid having to try to make conversation and open up, and then have those like questions about the like, should I have even like said this to this person?
Yeah.
And you're like, maybe without even thinking, and I'm like mid conversation, I'm like, oh shoot, like this might be exposing too much.
Yeah,
and
it's like you opened up a can of worms.
yeah.
Pandora's box.
Oh yeah, yes. And I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think opening up, it's allowing you to be your most authentic self, right? But if you stumble across along the way and you're like questioning, doubting, it's just, that's signaling to me that it's like, okay, this shouldn't have happened, or maybe in the future with this person, I'm not going to do that. So,
yeah, I think my challenge with being vulnerable is probably what is the good that comes out of it. I know they did an experiment with like Bobo the clown, and it was like a bunch of children where they were like having different kinds of emotions, and then they were like punching the clown. And then I think a follow-up study was just showing how like aggressive or like violent, like sports, for example, that you think would get your aggression out actually just heightens that aggression towards that person. So like I used to do kickboxing for a while when I was going through some really difficult stuff. And I thought that was like helping me release that like anger and hurt that I was experiencing. But it just made it worse, because then when you start thinking about that person, like as the boxing thing, and like then you kind of start associating those feelings with that person, and it gets even more aggressive. And so I say that all because when you're being open and being vulnerable with other people, sometimes if you just keep repeating the same story and letting yourself go into that emotion that story makes you feel again and again, you're just kind of emphasizing that feeling. So in a way, like being open, although important, you have to be cognizant of how it affects you and the impact it's making on yourself. Because I know for me, like hashing out the same story multiple times, even to different people, like I feel how I feel about that situation, but then like nothing resolves out of it. I just feel that again, and like, why do I keep beating myself up in that direction? So that was a very long-winded way of saying, just be careful of yourself to protect yourself when opening up.
That's right.
Yeah. And going off of that, my biggest barrier is when it comes to opening up with the person that I feel I have a conflict with, I need to make sure that no matter what their response is, I am okay, because I did that self-talk that I'm doing this because I'm protecting my feelings. They deserve to know how I feel. I can't control what they say back.
And to add to that, like tell them how you feel, and also you shouldn't be suffering through that feeling and them not even realizing that. That's just a disservice to you.
Exactly. But that's the thing. When I would open up before, I wouldn't think about that.
Mhm.
So then when they would react in a way that would only make me more upset, it was totally counterproductive. And then it made me scared of opening up at all
Yeah.
because of their reactions. But I'm learning, you know, it takes time to reach that peaceful mindset and being ready to open up and accepting, okay, this could totally just like, but at least I am honest with how I feel and how, they may have hurt me.
I mean, it definitely reminds me of the importance of like having the right mindset coming into a certain situation, like pertaining to like opening up to somebody. I think that kind of requires you a little bit of like planning at like just moments before, I guess, like to get you in the right space. And also like allows you to be more cognizant and read the room type thing, read the person's like energy and their like where they're at, without even having to like directly ask them at that moment. And that kind of helps like guide you as far as, I think, at least, how you're going to convey some of the ideas or those like, issues that you'd want to like open up about. Which is, I think, again, it's a learned like skill that you may have to like, unfortunately, fail at and have some like have some like falling outs or whatever. But it's, at the end of the day, it's still going to serve like a learning like lesson.
Right. Yeah, these conversations are so important to have, because otherwise, again, like I said, you're the one who's going to be suffering, knowing that you're like feeling all these feelings without that person ever like knowing or really having that resolution. And exactly like what you said, though, it's preparing yourself to have that to the extent where like no matter what happens, you're assured as to how you feel and where you're at. And hopefully that other person receives it well. But if it doesn't, then it's kind of like, okay, I think that tells you a lot about that person more than anything, is when you've reached the extent of your reach in that conversation, you're like, this is all I have to give you. And this is all I can say. And depending on how you respond, like, does this relationship really, is this really good for us anymore? Right. Perhaps you've reached the end of that road, and that's okay.
Oh, yeah. That right. That part. It's very relevant in a lot of things. We've talked about things like that. So,
and I think I've really had to learn the hard way, because I used to be the type of person where I want to solve it right away. And I'm like, oh, I'm so hurt right now. This is weighing so heavy on me and it's affecting everything else that I'm doing. Right. I need to solve this right now. But with doing that, and then opening up when I didn't mentally prepare myself and my goal in mind wasn't, okay, let's solve this and let me do this for myself. Let me be honest with them because I care about them. Then it just ended up being me telling them everything when I wasn't ready and I was very emotionally charged. Nothing was solved because then I said things, maybe there was some truth to it, but it could have been delivered way better. I'm going off of this hurt that I already have. And how do I expect them to receive it well if I'm like coming in so hot?
You're just asking them to be as defensive and as attacked, or feeling attacked and then attacking back. And I think too, when we have these conversations, always be as self-reflective and aware of yourself as you can be, which is really hard, right? Yeah. Because it's so easy to be like, oh yeah, you did this and you did that. But it's like, wait, what if I did the same thing or a version of it? Right. And did I acknowledge that? Did I address that? And one of the things I learned about these conversations is like taking the step to also admit when you're wrong. Being like,
That's
yeah,
important.
I know I fucked up, or I do take accountability for this, or I was wrong, and I also feel this, and it's always going back to those I statements too.
I think that's a sign of, maturity, and signals to the other person that it's like, okay, yes, you've taken accountability for something, whatever the case may be. But I think it also makes them feel like, hey, we can have this discussion, if something ever comes down the line where it's open, it's like, going back and forth, that I feel comfortable opening up to you now, as you did, bringing up whatever issue. And that, like, that, if you wanted to know what it looked like, that's what it looks like, as far as like having like a very healthy like relationship. Because yeah, I think having it, you're signaling, yeah, you can be open both ways.
Mhm.
It's going to be important, like I said from before, it's vital to that relationship, right?
Mhm.
So like with these barriers in mind, how did you guys overcome them? Or have you overcome them? Because I'll tell you this, like with me, it's a practice that it's tough, only because I came from a place that was like that, where I felt opening up, I needed to just let it all out right at that very moment. Or even if I was going to a neutral party and I had like stuff weighing down on me, I felt like it just needed to come out at that very moment. There were like moments that, like I alluded to, about like my fears coming into play of like, oh, did I maybe impede on this person? Like, yeah, did I put too much on them, or am I saying too much, and things like that? Not trusting that they are a good source, and it's the right place to be in terms of like opening up and sharing what I have to say. I found that always being the challenge. And what really helped was just finding a balance, modulating down some of the, hey, you know what? I can take care of some of this on my own. I can reflect. I can, kind of water it down. And then if there's still some things that need some more clarification, or I would like to run it by somebody, then I'll do it. But that also requires me to, have that shift in mindset into a more positive place.
I don't think I am anywhere near overcoming my barriers, but I've made progress, and that's something I'm proud of. My first thing is reminding myself, when there's conflict, it doesn't need to be solved right away. I don't need to respond to this immediately. I can give it time and reflect on it and wait till I'm not so emotionally charged. And I credit that to my husband, because before we got married and lived together, my family, we're all the same way. Like, we're like, no, now. We do this now. But ever since, I got married to him, he reminds me, like, take a step back. It doesn't have to, you don't have to react to this right now. You can react to it with me, like in a safe space, but you don't have to react to them right now.
I love that.
And
Yeah.
that has really changed a lot for me, because every single time I have reacted instead of responded, like waited and then responded, I regretted it. And I said things that I wish I didn't. So just learning to be okay with taking time away and not letting it affect everything else in my life. Yeah. Because before, it would feel like the biggest weight when I have conflict with someone that I care about. Like I couldn't sleep. I couldn't stay on task at work, because it would be in the back of my mind. But now I'm learning, no, I can compartmentalize, right? And as I'm doing that, I'm taking space away from the situation, so I have a clearer mind when I come back to it.
Love that
Yeah.
for sure.
Love that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I want to be like you when I grow up.
No, but I'm saying that
Damn.
okay, but I say that but it's the practice, right?
Yeah.
Like it's so hard to do it in the moment.
Well, the way you're articulating it, tells me that, it's on your mind, it's well developed, and it's like, yeah, you can, it's difficult to put into practice, but it's like, you're aware of it. And, that I think that goes for all of us, that we may know the answer, how to properly approach a situation, but it's not always practiced. But the thought is like, I still believe in it.
Yeah.
I believe in it truly, and I'm going to strive to achieve that. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're like really saying right there.
Yes, there's another way. I don't have to do it that same way.
Yeah, the way you used to do it before.
Yeah, that I thought was the right way.
Right. For my barrier about opening up and like protecting yourself in that process, I think how I overcame that is I haven't overcame that, but I'm working on it. And I think it's because like I am used to, being so open and like always talking about things. And feeling like that need for external validation in a way where it's like, if I share, like if I keep sharing this and people keep agreeing with me about the situation, then I feel like I'm in the right. Which maybe I am. But at the same time, it's like, again, not very productive. So I think for me, it's like trying to just be more aware of like how much energy I spend on a situation. And like, because sharing things with people or just being open with people, it takes energy out of you because you're literally taking something from yourself and giving it to another
That's
person.
right.
That's what being open means.
That's such a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So that's the energy that you're putting out, right?
I totally agree and resonate with it because, and it reflecting on this, it brought up some questions for me, as far as like, yes, how do you protect your energy? And a lot of like experts would say like, you have to be more mindful about what you put out there in the world. Like you have to sometimes just shut the fuck up and like not say anything.
Wait, but we're on a podcast.
Oh, I know. Well, the irony is I heard it on a podcast. So if they can say it, I can say it.
Cheers to that. Cheers to that.
Oh my goodness. But I think what was left out, and I don't want it to be something misunderstood, is like, you have to put some thought and be mindful about like how much you're really going to put out there, right? Because if it's just like completely just keep your thoughts to yourself and everything, then forget this whole episode. Like it's worthless. But I think it's us trying to learn and figure out where the middle resides in all of this and the balance. And I agree with you, Ash. Like I've been on that side where like it's absolutely just let it all go. And then I'm like hearing all this, like, you have to be, just sometimes like just keep quiet. But that feels counterproductive also, right?
It's a balance.
So
like everything else in life.
So
right?
I think it's just coming to that conclusion of like, you got to find, it's your duty, it's your responsibility to find what your balance is in that.
Yeah.
And results show as far as like, how your relationships like thrive going forward.
Yeah.
And then you can make adjustments along the way.
Yeah.
Again, continuing to learn.
Of course.
Yeah.
So talking about, creating that learning space as well for yourself. How do you create a safe space in your relationship to be vulnerable, and how do you maintain it?
I take from my partner, because again, like she reflects the things that I want to be, and when faced with conflict, it's not going in there with guns blazing. And even for the both of us, like if she knows that we're going to get into a conversation about some issues.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a bit of a like, I'm gonna preface this with like, we got to keep this like calm. Remember, like let's like not raise our voice and everything like that. So it starts with just calm.
Making sure you're in a calm mindset.
and then you're leading with love and respect
Mm-hmm.
after that, like with the conversation. I mean, for me it's always going to be like I end up wanting to like resolve it, find a resolution.
Mm-hmm.
That's my end goal, but keeping in mind that, all right, let's maintain that like safe space, which is the calm and like keeping respect mutual between the two of us, and not going outside of my like going out of bounds or like hitting below the belt type thing. Because sometimes I can do that. Like, unfortunately, to my detriment, it's like I can get a little nasty with like my words. Yeah, it kind of leads into one of the other points that I had about creating that safe space, distraction free. It's like it's one-on-one time with that person, and like to create that environment, because again, it's another sign of respect, right, to each other. And for me personally, I love to have a conversation or like something like that over like a meal or over drinks, help loosen up the vibe. But I just feel like it's a proper like setting and kind of invites a little bit of that, all of that above that I was talking about, the calmness, the love, and
In my relationship, I hope I make a vulnerable space safe and vulnerable. I always allow, or I try my best to remember to be like, okay, like, how do you feel about this? Or do you have any thoughts on this? Like, I'm being proactive about asking. And then that sometimes brings up conversation. But for me, I don't really know what else to say besides like, I don't want to assume how you feel.
Yeah.
I don't want to like put words in your mouth if I can be conscious of that. So if I could just keep asking you open-ended questions, if you want to say anything, and give you space for that. For me, that's what I can do. But I'm learning a lot from this conversation alone. So.
Well, that sounds really good. Sounds on point of like what I think is an ideal way of like creating a space like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. With my husband and I, since we are in that busy stage of our relationships, it's setting aside time to ask each other, like, hey, how are we doing? Because sometimes things may come up, or I feel a certain way about something, but I don't have the capacity to talk about it. And he might too. And then we kind of just keep going throughout the week. And then you might forget about it. But then those things subconsciously pile up. So every weekend, because that's the only time that we both don't work, there is that time where we both ask each other, like, we'll just check in. Like, is there anything that I did that made you irked? Or is there something I could have done better? And then also saying like how I might have felt about something else, but then also sharing what was really great too. Again, it comes to that actively nurturing your relationship and not like just coasting.
I hope you all are taking notes.
Yeah, that goes back to our episode about being comfortable.
Yeah.
And it's uncomfortable to have these conversations. So in a way, it's like being open, being vulnerable, and having these conversations is the remedy to not being too comfortable in a relationship. But also, of course, the balance, because in the extreme of that is just having a fight every single week, exhausting that emotional part of you. I was thinking about this too. I don't know if it's just like how our schedule is set up, but sometimes like, because I'm an overthinker and I have a lot of like a laundry list of things that I said this before in another episode where I could just be doing nothing, folding my laundry or something, and I'll just pick a fight in my own brain. Like, you know what? That, I didn't like that. And it's not even worth bringing up, but sometimes there are things that I feel like maybe this is worth bringing up. But then like, I don't know if it's because we don't spend a lot of like time together in general compared to like relatives, but like sometimes it overrides in my brain and I just like, instead of bringing anything up, I'm just like, oh, hi. Okay. Yeah. And then I kind of just push it down. Not like consciously, but I'm just happy to spend time with him. So I override myself.
So choosing, what's worth talking about.
That's true. If it really matters, then I would bring it up, right?
Of course.
Wow, perspective.
Yes, and
I learned something about myself. So as we wrap up this episode, what is your law? We should have like a music segment on this or something.
Yeah. You know what? I have a beat, but I have not.
I want to hear this, please.
But,
like already, we want to hear this beat of yours.
It's only in my head. I haven't put, the drums.
Put it out there to the world.
Yes,
we deserve to hear it. They deserve to hear it. Come on.
Shout out Joshua, my mentor.
Let's go.
At INTHEFLOWERS.
Come
Follow him.
on.
Listen to his music.
Yes.
Oh, true artist. But the beat, I even got my work friends on it and they sing it at work because it's like, you guys are going to laugh, okay? It goes, beep bop, bada boop bop, beep bop, bada boop bop, boom, boom, beep bop, bada boop bop, beep bop, bada boop bop, boom, boom. So maybe something like that for the law.
Like it's like slowly fading in the background and it comes in and everybody knows it. That's a catch. Dude.
Yeah, that's the conditioning of it.
Dude, come on.
I'll work on it.
Send it.
I'll work on it.
Over. All right. So your law. I don't know if this is like a law of mine necessarily, but it's something that I feel like is courtessy. I don't know. I'm also open to kind of having the discussion. But gift giving.
That's a good one. Okay, that's
hot topic.
Hot topic. Yeah, if a person like unexpectedly gives you a gift, I feel like the next time there's a chance to, you should also give them a gift.
Okay.
But I also see the flip side of like, but I didn't ask for a gift, so.
I want to hear your guys' thoughts about that. How you approach it.
I'm kind of more on the former, like, oh, I didn't think you would give me a gift, so I guess I should give you a gift now.
Yeah, I'm the same. But gift giving is my love language.
Me too.
So I love to give
gift giving.
Yeah,
and
so
I love receiving gifts.
Yeah, if I receive one from someone else, I'm like, oh, what?
Yeah.
Here you go. Of course.
Yeah.
Let's make this a thing.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
My thoughts, I mean, I think I lean towards, yes, if I received a gift unknowingly out of the blue, yeah, next time I see you, it's either a gift or like, hey, I got you, like something, whatever it is. It's just the reciprocation that whatever form it comes, I think that becomes the next step for me at least. But I in that realm, that subject, like giving gifts is like the most, like if calculus was hard, giving gifts is like harder for me. Like
ideas?
Yeah, it's like the ideas. I overthink it because it's like, oh God, they might not like this because it's too simple or it's too whatever. Oh, I'm just not gonna give them a gift, whatever. And then I sit more like hours, days, weeks, and then it's like, here comes their birthday, here comes Christmas, no gift.
I think that is like one. Okay, that's a law then for me. It's like, I don't open a gift in front of me. Don't open my gifts in front of me. Yeah, because that exact feeling of like, are they gonna like it? I don't want to know how they feel. Like it gives me so much anxiety, and I'm so passive that like sometimes, like if you do it in front of me, I'll let you do it, and I'll be like, okay. But on the inside, I'm just like, stop right now. And the only person that like I'm okay like opening is with my significant other, because we've just kind of built like a tradition of like opening, especially like Christmas gifts in front of each other. So I'm like used to that, and usually I feel like my gifts are pretty good. And then so but with everybody else, I'm like, here's my gift, open it later.
Do you guys remember Secret Santa Christmas?
Yeah.
You didn't see what I was feeling or what I was thinking underneath it all, but I was freaking the fuck out. I gave the books. Remember? I gave the books because I was giving out the book. It was White Elephant. Excuse me, not Secret Santa. It was White.
Is that it?
Kia did.
Oh,
It was the 2 books, and I wrote the little thing, and I was like,
Oh, you wrote something?
yeah, I wrote something in there.
Oh,
No, but I wasn't thinking about that. Underneath it all, I was just like, oh God. Because especially when I saw the gifts that were getting like pulled and everything.
I got a bullet.
I was like, oh shoot.
I feel like I'm good at giving gifts.
There you go. There's one of your superpowers. Golly.
But I feel that. That
Yeah.
anxiety is like strong.
I lived there. So whatever you were talking about, I was like, that's me, girl.
Yeah. So I had a gift for that white elephant that I had forgotten at my house. And I was like, oh no. So then I just like whipped up like a gift card from I was able to figure that out. So I was like, you know what? That's pretty neutral. Like no one hates a gift card.
No.
It's not the best exciting gift, but you know,
yeah.
you could do. I think didn't you guys get the gift
I think Janice did. Yeah. Yeah.
card? But you can't like hate a gift card. It's a gift card.
Yeah, gift cards are
anything you want it to be. But then I used that gift and I brought it to my family Secret Santa. And my gift was the butt of the joke.
Oh,
Everyone hated my gift.
No.
So I was like,
What was it?
Really?
It was like a collection of like sunscreen from Supergoop.
Oh, okay.
I would love that.
Yeah. I know people would have been down for that.
Good for your skin, good barrier.
Yeah. Sunscreen is everything.
Yeah, but Supergoop is really nice. Not sponsored.
Nothing is sponsored.
But anyway, that anxiety came up for me too. Because I was like, wait, as I saw the gifts that were being put out for White Elephant, I was like, my sunscreen doesn't compare to a NutriBullet.
Yeah, that's so interesting because I'm like, open my gift now. I love, because I think with everyone that I give gifts to, I'm very thoughtful about it, but not where I have anxiety. But it's just like, I think about them, what they like, and I love gifting experiences.
Oh,
That can never go wrong. Like time spent together or time that an experience you want to do with another person, that's invaluable. Absolutely. So I love seeing the reaction.
You are like tops for like giving gifts.
Yeah, you are the ultimate gift giver.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I will take that.
So that we're gonna say we all had a law for that one.
Yeah, you contributed to that law.
Yeah, we definitely did. Group law, gift giving. Giving. Don't open gifts in front of us, but you could open in front of Kai.
Yeah.
For me? Yeah. Take a video.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening to the In-Laws We Trust podcast. You can follow us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Music on In-Laws We Trust Pod or In-Laws We Trust Podcast. You can follow me, Ashley, at looking for Ashley _ on Instagram.
And Brian at CPTN_BEE.
Captain, going through the waters. And you can follow me at Kylie Kawaii on Instagram.
All right, and don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe, and do whatever you need to do. Comment.
Love to hear your feedback.
Let
and
us know.
share this episode with people you think should listen to it. Maybe people you need to open up with.
Mm-hmm. Or you want them to open up. Ooh.
Great.
Or you need them to close it.
We're closing this right now.
Until next time. Cheers.
Cheers.